I see Penta going in to the further north here. And that was really what they struggled with yesterday. They came in late, and if they don't change that up, they're going to have 2 bad games on Miramar today as well.
Yeah, but a Penta struggle yesterday is still a damn fine play.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it's going to play out today here. We're going to be going to our commentary team. Game number 6. Bring us the action, fellas.
Thank you so much, James. I am WTF Moses, joined by Richard Sims, and we are here in game number 1 of today, game number 6 overall of the final stage of the PUBG European League qualifier. And this is a pivotal day, Richard.
It is, of course, like any kind of PUBG match or event that we normally go to. There's only a limited amount of times, unfortunately, you can go wrong. We play so many matches in PUBG that you can afford to drop the ball here and there. You know, you will make up the points if you are consistent enough, but consistency is the key when it comes to this game. And if you are down in that bottom 16th through 13th position, it's going to be a lot more difficult tomorrow. All right, you can play the old card of, well, we're back on Erangel all day. It's going to be fine. We'll make up the points. But unfortunately, it's one of those where if you keep at it and you keep performing bad, again, saving grace, 10 teams can qualify, but still they're going to have all kinds of issues.
Sounds good. I've just received word that we will likely be remaking this lobby. It sounds like we're having some issues. So for now, we will just kind of briefly talk about the initial drop strategies that we've seen, at least so far. Disregard entirely what I just said. We are going to move on with this game, so we will carry on the discussion regardless. We have a little Western Circle centered around Monte Nuevo, and some teams rather are changing it up today. Maybe you can walk us through that.
Yeah, obviously with this plane as well, it might be the slight disadvantage. I mean, you can already tell that Avanga are going to be using the normal thing of moving all the way up to Campo Militar and doing the usual. They'll probably stop off at Tierra Bronca rather than going the complete furthest distance away. Rekka are doing the normal thing, which is as soon as the plane drops in, get the hell out of it. It's as simple as that. Get on the ground, and it's having a strategy like that, which so far hasn't proved well for them because they are down in the bottom zone. I can't remember exactly the total placement, but I don't believe they would have qualified if this would have been the very last day, for example. So having the ability to switch things up on a pinhead like that, it's good. You have to adapt to everything that's thrown at you in PUBG, and I respect that. That's a good play. For this game in particular, nothing looks too dissimilar to what we've actually seen, for the last for the last 5 games yesterday. Circle though, Moses, she's on the western bank. There is a smidgen, maybe a millimetre of water in, so happy days for them. Monte Nuevo, smack bang in the centre of it all. All roads quite literally lead to there.
Looks like Tornado. They have not found the same success in the first half, or I should say the first 5 games that they did through the group stages. They are currently spread out around the zone, with Compot finding a decent spot in the center, probably looking to hold on to something for his team to join up later. Red Diamonds, they have played off these circles quite well, and they find themselves in charge of Monte Nuevo on the southern side, with Team Ready down by Chumacera in their standard spot. But that eastern approach, I should say, for teams like TSM coming into the zone should be relatively easy in the first little bit. But that western side, that very far western side of the play zone is essentially impassable, and there's a lot of dead spots in there. So we'll likely see a lot of that map pressure occurring on the eastern side as teams transition first.
While I understand the logic behind splitting up like this and trying to go for, grab a safe area for the rest of the team to meet up later on, I personally am a big purveyor of dropping as a team, looting as a team, moving as a team. You'll send one off, and the 3 will follow up. Tornado at the moment having 2 back in El Pozo. If for some unknown reason the Sauna boys thought, you know what, balls to it, we want these points, we want to make sure that for the next 2 games this is ours, they could just essentially outgun them and outman them. Simple as that. It doesn't matter. All right, we have seen 2 versus 4 scenarios before. You can get the knocks, you can get the headshots, but essentially, if Sauna boys really wanted to pressure them in a 4 versus 2 scenario, they could do. Again, they won't necessarily know that they're in a 4 versus 2 scenario because they don't know where the rest of the guys have gone unless they've been doing the homework and they're doing this yesterday and doing the usual thing. But if you're a Kamka and Compot, you get caught off guard on a team that's rotating, you're dead. At 1 versus 4, you're never going to win that.
Yeah, and that's the thing where if you're undermanned in a push like that, you might have the territory, but you just can't maintain it, and then you'll really get nothing for it, as you'll just have your lunch money taken by a team that is getting more aggressive. And speaking of aggression, we were sat at breakfast this morning with the Alliance players. Obviously, Alliance not making it through the group stages, and they were chatting about how they had wished and how they discovered as that last game was looming, and they were essentially with their backs to the wall, having to frag out in order to maintain or at least hope to get into the next stage, that they regretted not playing with more aggression and not playing their style, and they realized just a little bit too late that they were playing in a way that just wasn't fit for their performance. And I think that for some of these teams, maybe learning that lesson earlier would be important, just due to the fact that for teams like TSM, Reciprocity, we've seen flashes of them, at least through the first 5 games, playing quite well. But nerves are a major factor here, and I think that's affecting everybody because, again, this is an extremely big deal. This has been something that's been thought of and wanted from the first stages of PUBG competitive.
Well, for some of these guys, it's the coin toss between going back to playing at home and streaming, or it's again a full-time job and doing it in phase 1, because that's essentially what it becomes. There's a lot of money on the line. There's a career on the line. There's a hell of a lot on the line. Some of these teams, they will have to make that journey through Contenders. Every single one of these teams that has made it to the finals does, at least as a saving grace, avoid the open qualifiers, so they will go direct to Contenders. But only 10 of them can advance and meet our 6 teams that are already sat there waiting, and 6 very good teams I might add as well. Obviously, when you look further afield, you are going to be playing up against teams like Liquid, FaZe, Knights, NIP. You know, there's 6 of them. The big names within esports and the big names within the PUBG game, so you have to be ready to play up to that level.
The next stage doesn't get easier.
No,
and that's kind of how these games have gone. It's the group stages were easier, then this is more difficult, and then obviously the Pro League will be the highest possible difficulty in I think probably the most competitive region in the world. And
at the end of the day, not necessarily, I don't want to say mistakes can happen, but there's always that one team that bollocks it up and just doesn't make it. You know, someone always chokes and someone always just can't play their normal game because sometimes
Bjorn under fire. It's Tornado. They have formed up in the center of the zone, and they're not going to allow Gamer Legion to get in unopposed, as Bjorn is going to have to skirt off and find a place to call home as the rest of his squad tries to join. And Kamka, the last man out for Tornado, is also getting pressure. Bjorn might be able to take one back from him as he's going to try and snake past. Kamka under pressure, but luckily, he actually took, he did take a lot of damage there, did Kamka, but he is going to join in with Compod, the next team, and aside from maybe losing that vehicle to damage, he'll have a little hold here. So Tornado looking good in the center of the zone.
So their play has paid off, to be honest with you. The Wanderer might be wandering out of this early game, and all of a sudden, this team ready with the first 16 points of this match. The Wanderer is down, he's dead.
I don't waste the nade there. I think I just let him bleed out because
yeah,
smart play there.
He's already tagged him, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty hurt. Well, maybe he will confirm it. We've seen on Miramar how important maintaining utility is, and smoke grenades and regular grenades, massively important. We've seen the likes of actually almost every team, especially Team Ready, using those grenades very aggressively. Merkin Gore's maybe we didn't see if he kept that grenade, but speaking of how these matches play out, I think the use of utility on Miramar is probably most important, just because of the sight lines that players have to deal with.
I think for the simple fact that everyone now understands that smokes a necessity. If you're not carrying smokes, then you're not playing this game how it should be, in my opinion. It's since I can't remember what patch it was where the size of the smokes would decrease. So
it's been a long time, actually.
It has.
Yeah.
I remember when that came in, all of a sudden, because I believe at the same time, mollies and nades, I'm sure their size actually increased. So again, they are a powerful tool of destruction. But I think smokes are definitely a more powerful tool when it comes to survivability and rotating, and even just movement. Like if you're on foot with the final circles, no one goes driving around, mainly because you're just a big old chunk of metal and you're making so much noise that everyone knows where you are. Being able to build walls of smoke and not even run through the smoke, but just deny a line of sight. We've seen Liquid do it so many times where when they do a push, they will build a wall behind them to deny one team at third party, for example. And I think being able to have that map knowledge of where these angles come from, and we'll come back onto this conversation a little bit later because the rotations are coming through. And it looks like, was that Hamster who was not with K9?
It was, yes, and I was seeing TSM pull up a little bit to the north of where Curage is hanging out. They did come to a stop. Hamster hoping for a res, but D-Mash has now come into pressure, or maybe just find a place to call home. He's going to dive into the God building and do a little endo there as he dumps his bike. Hamster is in a pretty tough spot. He's actually going to be res. Timber has come to his aid, so that's a plus there. Rory, TSM needs to have a good start to today. We've said it over and over again. They've got the talent, but can they put rubber to pavement and start executing their strategy, whatever that might be, and surviving through these mid-game phase shifts as we are about to see our first circle change. And this should kind of dictate how their mid-game goes, depending on whether or not they get caught out here by Q-Rage.
Tornado's play, initial drop has paid off, been able to spread out, it's got them into the centre of the map, it's got them a good compound, and more importantly, luckily it's got them an AWM. We saw that coming. I did think it was going to drop on the roof of the angle, but it didn't. It did go through. You can see Raise Your Edge out on the edge, still inside the blue, unfortunately. Circle, luckily for them, does kind of go their way, so they'll be able to come in on the northern edge. There's a compound that they could potentially take rather than going deep into the circle. Avanga also are going to be looming in there. They might stay on the edge of El Pozo, but who knows? Penta also on the rotation. They have to be careful because they're running into an absolute gauntlet. There will be a bottleneck in that valley, so to speak. If someone does want to take the main road, it looks like Penta are opting to just pull off on the left-hand side. TSM in a 2-2 split up on the ridgeline. That means they can take a further afield, so to speak. More importantly, splitting up like this for TSM, they won't just be able to watch north and south, but they'll also be able to take east and west of each other and cover each other's back. So I like the split, but obviously if anyone does push them in a 4, it will be a 2 versus 4 fight. But then again, with them being quite close together, they will have Rory and Cole have the option to back off to Wookie Bookie. As it looks like Red Diamond's getting into it with Tornado. One of them does fall. Where's the rest of his team? Was he on his own? Was he scouting? I think he was.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, they are a little bit further away to his south. TSM using that open position on the ridgeline, they are going to potentially open themselves up to some fire from Avangar from the rear. They're arriving in Pozo. Raise Your Edge is coming in on the northern side, and it looks like Reciprocity is doing a very wide northern swing. Shiv and Raffi have come all the way north just to where Pozo initiates, but I'm not sure why. I think they had a pretty clear path into the zone. Skoom is actually kind of stomped on the western side. Not sure what the game plan is here for Reciprocity. Maybe trying to hedge that north-south shift if it does occur. But a little strange maneuver for Rec, as I don't know what they're doing. It's mind-boggling.
It's kind of like a backup plan, I think. They clearly heard that Maxi were there when they arrived. I saw Maxi get into the car, so in my opinion, they know other teams. They're lurking around El Pozo, which Skoom will probably say, okay, I have a clear compound, now move back to me. So they drove off again.
Is driving right into Sauna Boys.
He might die now.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the game plan is here. He's driving right into a bunch of different people. It looks like Skoom will probably either get knocked out of his vehicle or potentially exploded. There's lots of pressure coming his way. He's on a bike. For Skoom, he's going to have to come to a stop.
One of the Sauna Boys has been knocked, though, Moses.
Yeah, that's TSM shooting from distance, and Skoom is going to get knocked down by Teeksu. What a shot in the back of the head. And that's an unfortunate turn of events for Skoom, as the rest of his squad, again, kind of scattered to the wind. Interesting execution here by Rec. Skoom's out.
Gets stolen, though. Sid will see him from the off angle. Obviously, the Sauna Boys will pull back away. There's no point in rushing out for 16 points. I love the ridgeline that TSM have got. It's beautiful, but just been dug in there. They better bring the vehicles up. And again, having a little concave area like that, and where Wookie and Gustav is, they've got 2 options to play with depending on where the circle is. So this split's really, really good. But if a team rushes them, it could be really, really bad because it'd be a 2 versus 4 engagement. But again, because they have so much line of sight, you wouldn't expect that to happen. Rec, they'll now hold the western bank up in the hills. No one really around them, but the Sauna Boys look to be aware, obviously, they've seen where Skoom's come from. Let's take a look further afield. What else? It's only M19 that are not actually inside the circle. They will be coming in from the eastern edge, just outside of Picado. And again, they'll have their own gauntlet themselves to run because there is the valley that runs out of Picado direct to Monte Nuevo, one of the back streets. But you've got Accelerate Gaming up on the top of the hills in the north, and then further down the south, you have GL and Joker. So they don't want to transfer further. It could be problematic. Speaking of problems, Chris has been banged in the head with a K98.
So potential loss for Penta, but it looks like they have the support to get the res out. Chris maybe just leaning out a little too far and getting punished. TSM's sight line is still pretty good on the northern side. Avangar kind kind of not really stuck in Pozo, but they are likely going to have to move unless they get a super hard shift coming their way. For the most part, easy dispersion among the teams, not too much pressure occurring on the map just yet, but we are headed into that second shift where we will see what the circle holds for us, and obviously around that 20-minute mark is where things start to get a little bit crazy here on Miramar. Courage in a good spot in the center of the zone. TSM, I think, will likely benefit that as well, with Red Diamonds in Monte Nuevo just shooting out from there. So we'll see what the next shift looks like, but for the edge teams, specifically Team Ready, M19, Alpachinki, and the remnants of Rec, they will have their work cut out for them, as likely they will be having to move as well. Accelerate Gaming still getting after it. They have Sezco down with a headshot at range, and there is the shift. It is going to favor the northeastern side of the map, and that's going to be going to Rai as well as Penta, who again find themselves in the center of the zone. They have positioned themselves so smartly and often find the benefit as well.
I mean, they take the northeast edge of the map, and this time around it has paid off. They've not had to go too far. Obviously, they would have had a more difficult transition had the circle have shifted towards the west or down south, but it hasn't. It's gone their way. TR, they're on the run. It's time to make their move. They want to get in early, but 3 teams have also... 4 teams, excuse me. This is like a wild migration of players all from the south because they know there's not many compounds in there. Bjorn, he's down. Pin, finish him. 16 points, move to Red Diamonds. Happy days for them. Raise your edge. They want to raise their bets as they go further inland. Obviously, there is a compound directly in front of them. They're less fast rail the Maverick back to see if anyone wants to try and take the hillside. I like that. It's a good decision. Get someone inside the compound, take that area, leave the boys back to take guard. Sid tasted his own medicine. He's been popping a few heads this time around, but Rory finds him, and all of a sudden, Team Ready Moses, they're pulled up to a fight. It's all getting messy over here.
They're not ready for Sauna Boys as they get quickly eliminated, and now Beautiful Death will go down for SDF, who's also heard the kerfuffle down below, and they want a piece of the action. Beautiful Death is going to bleed out relatively quickly, and I don't see the remnant. I think it might be Iro, I believe, who's still alive. I'm not sure where he is on the map, but actually it is a Beautiful Death going down and out, but he did get a trade and a finish, so they will get some points out of it. There's Squeaky. He can see Shiv a little bit further away, and Reciprocity are leaking into the zone very slowly. It is Iro all by himself left.
Oh, Shiv knocked himself.
Shiv knocked himself with the vehicle.
No,
unfortunate, and I think Squeak, he knows it, and he's going to try and follow up with that nade relatively quickly, perfectly thrown, and that's going to be Shiv. Oh, he's not going to get the credit. Shiv knocked himself. No points for Accelerate from the looks of it. And, well, I mean, if you're going to die, at least you might as well deny the points. But Rec is not having a good start to this game. They've lost 2. Hax and Raffi are the last 2 standing. Hax arriving in his Murado to join Raffi in an open spot on the map. And they are on the low ground of the Sauna Boys. Not looking good for them. Alpachinki, a similar situation, open position. They have a couple of vehicles set up, but one being a smoking bike. It's not looking super hot for them. And Tornado also coming on the south. This southern side, Rich, pretty messy.
Yeah, I think these are probably what we'd like to call desperation events. The fact that it's a matter of, okay, we're under fire. No one else can die. What do we do, boys? We're in trouble. I wanted to realize as well, I think Moses Hax has actually lost his helmet, so he's going to be a completely sitting duck. As we move from ducks to turtles. That's an 8 times on the back at the minute. Turtle himself been a pretty decent sniper. It's Wookie Bookie on this one. You want to be keeping an eye on who can hit those.
Oh, Alpachinki's in trouble.
Oh,
look at all these nades.
Is this an aggressive push? Look at all those nades, Moses. They're going to go for it.
Yeah, it really looks like Tornado wants to take out Alpachinki. Their nades are landing short, but they are definitely doing damage. And just like that, Alphablaze is going to go down to an exploding bike. The follow-up grenades keep coming. It's a red zone here on Miramar as nade after nade lands, and Alpachinki is on the ropes. Tornado Energy Battle is coming in, and they are ready to fight. The mollies, that's a ton of utility used. They had an absolute barrage of nades coming their way. You have to wonder, though, if you're Tornado, if you maybe want to save a couple of those nades and just use the rifles to try and clean up Alpachinki while you have them to spare.
I think you see them like this, you kind of committed. It takes 1, takes 2.
Wow, that's a quick spray down.
And more importantly, I think someone in the back lines, have they bailed from that?
I really did look like it. I don't see where Compot's gone. He's getting pressure from elsewhere, but the one prone guy just completely turned the tables, and Compot is now facing elimination as the first person out of this game. He's only the last man standing. He's trying to med. The shots from the Sauna Boys in the top left are coming in, trying to find Compot, and that just went completely sideways in a hurry for Tornado Energy Battle as they had Alpachinki ready to be eliminated and now face elimination themselves.
Bonus for Compot, the fact that he was wearing the level 3s. He was the person that collected the crate earlier on, so thank God he had that. I mean, you saw how low he was. They definitely 110% saved his life. M19 could be getting crushed any second soon. I say crushed, they actually have the level 2 side of this build and they have the compound themselves. The Jokers, they'll play this one cautiously because they are going to be fighting an uphill battle. You can see that's why they're flooding to the left-hand side, get more of an angle, go up the hill, try and spot if anyone's in here. I think Elite Player might be smoking. Nope, he's put it away. I mean, that would have pretty much given away the information, but Alpachinki, the bullet finds its target, and Team E sends them out in game number 1, day 2 in 16th place.
We've seen the shift once again. The circle is updated, and we are headed again to the east. And the power grid is probably the best spot in the map right now, and that's Joker's territory along with M19. TSM is now going to have to find their way onto the northern ridgeline. But look, they have Q-Rage rotating in behind them, and they are surprised. Turtle a little bit lagging as his teammate has, the team rather, has already moved out without him. I'm not sure why he was still there, maybe waiting to see what other teams were doing, but Turtle will be found and no trade available, so TSM will lose one for free, and they are now in rotation. This is where we've seen them get into trouble before. They're running right into Penta. Q-Rage also has a line. This is not looking good for TSM as Penta hears the shots. They also want to get online. They're going to have to come to a stop. This is not looking good. They might get popped out of their vehicles. Rory getting shot after shot. The vehicle ready to explode. He will just narrowly escape.
Right inside the compound, another set. That's going to be unfortunate circumstances. An octave pulls up. Raise your edge. I'm going to raise your awareness, boys. The CIS team is here and they're ready to fight. Maverick goes down. Snoopy, hold the off angle. 2 of them push up. This could be a little bit of a SWAT tactic maneuver. They know someone else is in here. They've heard the noise. AWM Compot does some damage. Excuse me. I was talking before about the player with the level 3 gate, wasn't it? It was the player from Tornado. So he did have level 2s and he did go down indeed. Nade up and over, not far enough. If they manage to take this compound, that means they can actually potentially push the advantage on the 2 versus 4 scenario, but
they've got good control, though. I mean, Cup of Magic has the doorway, and he's watching to see what Avangar is doing. He's going to start putting pressure, and there it is. That's a nice line of sight from the warehouse as the support is there for Fast Rail. He's going to make his escape, and that's a nice headshot. Avangar, Asvern going down, and in your bottom screen there is Compot shooting shot after shot. But wow, the turn comes in, and Kofis will take him down at distance. That's Tornado getting eliminated in 15th place.
I got the wrong player with the level 3s, but at least I knew they both had, you know.
Everyone's doing something out there, man.
They at least had 1 player alive. We got there in the end. Either way, 14 teams now remaining. Best of luck. We've seen this man's name highlighting time and time again. He's in with a nade onto the sauna boys. Can't seem to get a breath so far, these boys. They're having all kinds of problems, and you got 2 players down below. One of them's been knocked by Rafi with a K98. Best of luck still lobbing fireworks at them from a distance. That just fell short. That could have been a very easy double if they'd have gone a little bit further. Rory is out in no man's land, just pegging it.
He's just running, and he is getting shots one at a time. I think that's Jokers or something. I can't see where that's coming from.
3 teams have an eye line on him.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to make it. TSM has found a small ridge to work with. I'm not sure if that's the spot they wanted, but the shift is coming in once again, and that western side is just awash with players.
TSM would not have got away with that, or at least Rory wouldn't have done, if it wouldn't have been for Q-Rich here. They've accidentally helped him out because they've drawn Penta's attention away. They're no longer focusing on the guy in the shack. They have to focus on the guys directly in front of them, or should I say behind, depending which way you're looking at the circle.
Chris.
That's a Kobe and a half.
No doubt under the car. He gets Fosveld on this, or excuse me, Kofis on the edge of the map. And now this is the circle that's going to really make things a problem as we have so many teams outside the zone. 40 seconds to go. It looks like the res is going to come in, but not quite. That was Fosverd getting downed from the distance. And look at that nade landing right in the lap of Fosverd. And Q-Rage not looking super hot on the edge of the zone, but neither is Reciprocity or the Sauna Boys. Again, the western side, especially along the south, is going to be a very tough transition for these teams.
Sauna Boys have to be careful. Excuse me, Rec have to be careful, because if they start taking shots at the Sauna Boys, they'll just be dropping down upon them as soon as I say that. Q-Ridge holding that off angle downstairs. Ira finds Wookie Bookie and puts him in the grave. The one-man band still holding strong.
He's just outside. He's just gonna hold this wide peak, and Gustav is gonna be taken down as well.
What?
That is a 2v1, and you have to question the angle hold there for Gustav. No movement whatsoever.
Rec have gone.
And that's wreck out as well. That's the western side is going to be decided with the circle closing. There's not a lot of room to maneuver. iZoom is the last man standing for his squad. Penta in their vehicles. They're going to move elsewhere. Looks like they're going to rotate a little further to the north. Not going to be easy for them. Getting pressure in the back, but not enough to land any shots. And iZoom is jumping around, but not jumping well enough. As best of luck, we'll find him with the mini. And the Sauna boys are on foot headed north as well. There's going to be probably about 15 people ready to die here, Rich.
Rory's still smack bang in the centre, just wandering around, hoping no one sees him. He might be able to get some sort of revenge for his 2 fallen compadres. Should he be able to find Ira hiding inside that little cabin? You'd have thought he'd definitely have been called out, but again, for all these people down south, it's an uphill struggle. They just have to run the hillside, and especially when you have Red Diamonds holding it. Sauna Boys there as well, so is SDF. It's a complete massacre down there. Everyone just trying to push through. Red Diamonds just holding it, saying, nope, border control is here, boys, you're not coming in.
And this is tough. I mean, there's so much pressure on the map right now, especially on that southern side.
Penta has eyes on him, though.
Yeah, Penta actually, they did that vehicle push and didn't get punished. Avangar has got decent map control, but they're leaking across from the north. And that's a nice couple of shots there from THC. He's going to flush out Teamy really fast, as now the Sauna boys still trying to make entry into the zone, have nowhere to move, really, and they're going to be eliminated in 12th place by both. Actually, that was all SDF and a little bit of help from the Red Diamonds as well. Joker is moving up to meet M19 now. Elite player on the zone. Look at this. Senya. He's got a perfect line. He unleashes, but gets forced down the ridge. Not a lot of maneuverability.
Learning when to hold and learning when to push is a key asset in this game, and some of them do it so well. They just know when it's time to go, when it's go time. It could have been go time now for, unfortunately, game of Legion. They're out in 11th. Timber going down to the blue. Makandak falling with a grenade from Mikats. Rustam still continuing forward here with Accelerate Gaming. That's the Mark 14 doing all kinds of damage. And the Red Diamonds again third-partying and putting another team in the grave.
Yeah, they're picking up kills left, right, and center. The squad here
total.
now have 7, and this is looking good. There's still 26 on the field, and we're moving into prime killing time as the open fields become the battlefields. Rari's been eliminated. TSM goes down in 9th place. Unfortunate turn of events that just wasn't there around once again, as Penta and the squad are now holding a split. A 2-2, one on the edge of the zone looking to clean up kills, and it's Udir and Briggs go in the center.
Did I feel it? Created his own. Khan 98 and Wookie Boy wandering about. So Bestlock's going to go and find the any utility or gear. Even a couple of smokes and meds just helps him out.
Ooh, M19.
Rustam gets polished, and then Mikas gets followed up as well. So the SLR and the Mini, the DMR's doing the job here. That's 2 of them, back-to-back, simple as that. Trafeli fighting a battle of his own on the opposing side, though. That grenade will find Tab. And again, that's kind of the third-party system coming into effect, where you're splitting the opposing team.
They want this with Accelerate. They're just pushing straight on. Elite players just sprinting. It's W with mouse 1. That's the name of the game. He's rushing by himself. Example a little bit further behind. The zone at their back. The Joker's on their right. And now this is going to be a ridge line. They're just going to straight up push it. Squeaky's looking up, ready for it. He's going to take one down. And there comes the trade. Example. And wow, that was a really aggressive push of that ridge line, as M19 just really wanted to fight Accelerate, but they got what was coming to them as they both get eliminated very quickly. Iro, again, still alive. The last man standing from Team Ready, who was one of the first teams to take a ton of losses. Underhand grenade to follow. That's right on top of, oh, maybe the, will it do anything? Yes, it will. Iro will finish off Sid, and now it's just Pin, I believe, as we've seen Accelerate Gaming get eliminated and wiped off the face of the earth on the southern side.
Iro just acting like a little turret inside the hut.
There
doing all kinds of damage, but this is so good. The fact that they managed to, oh, okay, this is the different fight. Excuse me, Joker's obviously pushing on what they'd already heard.
Yep.
The position where they were hiding, they clearly just collapsed. Looks like Bestalock's just done damage with the arm in the kill feed. Chris now stepping up to the blitz. Hello, Senpai. 16 points for him. Onto another one as well. That's back to back. Holding the fort down, looking for this arm. He's heard it and see one of his pals fall down already. Sprays through. That's going to be the Scara Baron, a comp, not finding a target, but on the back of the red dot, it gets him in the ass, and down he goes.
Breaks go on the edge, and the Jokers are just fighting with the zone right now. They've got utility down, but the zone is pressing and pressing. D-Mash stuck there. Cup of Magic has got a line of sight. It's Razor Edge. They're trying to pick up as many kills as possible. Pop, pop, pop. The M4 is singing as the Jokers have no room to move. Avangar in a vehicle late game. This is looking very brave. Wanted. He's going to get traded by Maxidor. That's a good shot in the back line as he pressed the ridge line and gets punished instantly. Maxizor, he's now jumping in his own vehicle, and he will make the crossing as Fast Rail and Wanted are going to have to sort out who's making the res here. It's going to be Fast Rail getting the res. And for Cup of Magic, he will... Actually, it's Cup of Magic doing the res here from the looks of it. So it's Wanted.
That's
coming
one
back
of
into
those
the game.
shots that you have to hit. Your
Yeah.
teammate's driving in a car. It's like, well, one bullet, one body, bang, knocks him out, and his teammate can survive. But Avangard, bottom side of the hill. Penta, up top directly in front of them could be a bit of a problem, especially how Penta are playing. They've split. There's someone not actually inside the white just yet. You've got Kaint downstairs, been able to give them the information. So the rest of Penta, they can read this. Dimash holding on for dear life in the top corner, by the way, just getting points and playing for placement. So Avangard, unless they can run into a team and split one of them, you've got Fast Rail from Raise Your Edge, and you've got Kaint on the opposing side of Penta, both outside of the white here, just hoping that Avangard makes some sort of mistake. When the blue collapses, they won't be able to be seen because of how the circle's kind of congregating around that ridgeline. But I think Avangard, they have to take Penta first because how the hillside does not favor them towards Rage Your Edge. Rage Your Edge can just go north.
For Rye, they have the zone now. Everyone's snuck their way in. Even Dimash, I believe, is just barely in the zone.
Maxi has to find another head here.
I think, indeed, and that's the can opener as Maxi. He's hit so many terrific shots through this tournament so far, and it really looks like Chris is well aware of Dimash's positioning, and he's just not going to let him pop his head up whatsoever, so that's good information to have. Avangard starting to throw their utility, trying to probe and see if they can get it down with the grenades, and there's Maxi with that sniper rifle. He's looking. He's been so good, and here comes the follow-up grenade. That looks well placed. That might land right on top of Kaint. Is it timed well? It looks very good.
Oh,
that's a nice throw by Maxi, and the follow-up coming now, and that's what Avangard needs. They're probably going to push on this. It's Chris in the bottom. He's going for the med, and now Breaks going Udyr on the right flank. They're going to try and prevent Avangard from getting even closer and closer as the nades continue to fall around. And I don't think they were able to follow it up. Kaint is going to sneak away, trying to get that nade landed perfectly twice. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. No full push from Avangard, but look at Rye. They're now going to move a little bit, try and see if they can find some action as well. It's Maxi. That's an important loss, and Rye is now getting very active. Avangard being sewn up as Penta is trying to recuperate.
This is the hill that I was speaking about. For Raise Your Edge, they have the line of sight. Nice. Avangard can't really do much, and now it's punishing them in the back, unfortunately. They took the line, and they paid for it. Penta managed to get the team of 4 back together. They might be lacking in a little bit of armor, but they certainly have the man advantage with numbers, so to speak. I'm still waiting on Dimash, because he's got a car 98 and an 8 times, so if he just decides to see someone holding back or medding, he's going to rip the face off. I'd expect him to play probably for 3rd place minimum.
Well, it looks like Penta's going to lose their ridge, and this is now a big problem. Rye's got the advantage, and they're all lining up for him. Fast Rail is now going to switch to the M4. He's going to start spraying and just try and hit as many shots as possible. They've got the utility down. They're making a small path, but the ridge line is such an advantage for Rye. They're getting forced off a little bit. Penta has to hit their shots here. Dimash still holding on for that 3rd place finish if possible. Avangard in a similar position. They have much further to travel as they're stuck outside the zone.
Avangard don't have the man advantage. Penta do, but Penta in an open line to Raise Your Edge. But Raise Your Edge are fighting 2 different battles. Fast Rail finds 1, Maxi finds 2, Wanted finds another one.
Wow, this is really, like Penta is desperately trying to hold on.
They're getting nuked.
And they're getting shot from all angles. Fast Rail luckily was the only real threat on that side. Maybe they can stick a res. Snoopy trying to move. Kaint is going to be finished off. Wanted and the rest of Penta are going to be going down as well. And this is now looking like Rye has a grip on this game. Dimash is now looking potentially at a 2nd place finish as Snoopy is being sprayed one at a time, and they're looking for it. Maxi finished off. Snoopy just hiding in the smoke, and there he goes. What a play. Dimash is now, he's activating. It's time to go. He has to decide, does he want to try and clutch this game? Another one down. Dimash looking to clutch. Oh, not quite as Fast Rail will secure it at the end. And that is an 8-kill win for Raise Your Edge by the skin of their teeth.
He didn't have a helmet. That was that final player. Dimash didn't have a chest, but the player that he was going after didn't have a helmet. That was on a knife edge. He could have pulled the 3 versus 1 at there by being so patient and waiting for the right time. I think he sniped someone in the back as well. He did have a K9 and 8 times. He might have just gone, right, time to go, bang, move it up, carry on. He could have denied the points. He could have done that. He opted not to. I respect it. Go for the 3 versus 1. Go for the win. GG. But it will be RYE Raise Your Edge's game here in day 2, game number 1. Fast Real with 4 kills, Wanted also with 4 kills. So 400 points